Most people can't even cover a $1,000 emergency. In fact, studies show nearly 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. One flat tire, one medical bill, and everything collapses. But something magical happens when you cross one line most people never reach. $10,000 in savings. It's not just a number. It's not just a milestone. It's the moment life starts to feel different. The air gets lighter, the panic quiets down, and suddenly, opportunities you never saw before begin to open up. Because saving $10,000 doesn't just change your bank account. It changes you. So what really happens on the other side of that number? And why do so few people ever get there? Here's why $10,000 is so powerful. It's not a million. It's not even six figures. But $10,000 is the line that separates survival from stability. Think about it. At $1,000 saved, you can handle a flat tire. At $5,000 saved, you can handle a couple months of rent. But at $10,000 saved, everything changes. It's the first time you realize you're no longer living on the edge. You're no longer just one paycheck away from panic. Instead, you have a cushion, a safety net, breathing room. And that cushion, it doesn't just protect you from emergencies. It gives you power to say no to bad jobs, power to take opportunities, power to start investing. Because here's the truth. $10,000 is the turning point where money stops controlling you and you start controlling money. In this video, we're going to break down exactly how life changes after you hit that milestone. The emotional shifts, the financial doors that open, and the dangerous traps you still need to avoid. And by the end, you'll not only know why $10,000 changes everything, you'll know exactly how to get there yourself. For most people, $10,000 feels like a fantasy. Not because they don't want it, but because life keeps eating it alive before it can ever grow. Picture this. You work a full week, you finally get your paycheck, and before you can even breathe, it's gone. Rent, bills, groceries, a car payment. By the time you're done, you're left with just enough to survive until the next cycle. Sound familiar? That's the hamster wheel most people never escape. Take Maria, for example, a young professional who swore she'd save $200 every month. But the car broke down. Then came a medical bill. Then her hours got cut. Every time she started building momentum, life slapped her back down. Or Jason, a father of two. He managed to save $3,000 once, but then his roof started leaking. In a single week, his entire savings vanished. Back to zero. That's the cruel part about money. Emergencies don't wait until you're ready. They strike at the exact moment you're finally making progress. And the emotional toll? Even heavier. Living paycheck to paycheck means you live with constant anxiety. You don't sleep as well. Every unexpected phone call makes your chest tighten. Every low balance notification feels like a punch to the gut. No wonder most people never see $10,000 in their account. They're stuck fighting fires instead of building freedom. The very same struggles that make saving feel impossible are also the exact reason why hitting $10,000 changes everything. Because once you cross that line, emergencies no longer destroy you. They bounce off. And that shift isn't just financial, it's emotional. For months, Maria felt stuck. Every time she tried to save, life clawed it back. But one night, staring at her bank balance, just a few $100s to her name, she made a decision. She wasn't going to wait until life was easier. She wasn't going to wait until her paycheck magically grew. She was going to fight for herself, starting with what she had. Her first move? Automation. Instead of promising herself she'd save whatever was left, she set up an automatic transfer. $50 every week, pulled from her account before she could spend it. At first, it hurt. $50 meant skipping takeout. It meant packing lunch instead of buying it. But every time she saw that little savings account tick upward, something inside her shifted. 3 months in, she had $600. Not much, but more than she'd ever managed before. 6 months in, she hit $1,200. Enough to cover an emergency without panic. By the end of the year, she stared at her screen in disbelief. $2,600. The number wasn't life-changing, but the feeling was. For the first time, she wasn't starting from zero. And then came the habit stacking. Maria found side gigs, tutoring online, dog walking, selling old clothes. Every dollar went straight into savings. Slowly, that $2,600 became $5,000. $5,000 wasn't the milestone that broke her. It was when she finally crossed $10,000. She remembered logging into her account late one Friday night. The balance read $10,037. She covered her mouth, tears filling her eyes. Because this wasn't just a number. It was proof that she wasn't trapped forever. Proof that her discipline mattered. Proof that if she could reach $10K, she could reach so much more. And that moment, it didn't just change Maria's finances. It changed her identity. She was no longer the person who could never save. She was someone who fought through every obstacle and won. Here's the truth. The difference between $2,000 in savings and $10,000 isn't just a bigger number. It's a different life. The first change? Emergencies no longer feel like disasters. When Maria's car broke down a few months later, she didn't panic. She didn't swipe her credit card and sink into debt. She calmly wrote a check and moved on. For the first time in her life, an emergency didn't break her. It bounced off her cushion. That one moment reprogrammed her brain. She realized $10,000 wasn't just money in the bank. It was peace of mind. The second change? Confidence. Something shifts when you see 5 digits in your account. Suddenly, the fear of what if isn't running your life. You walk differently. You talk differently. You even negotiate differently. When Maria's boss offered her a small raise that came with triple the stress, she shocked everyone. She said no. Why? Because she wasn't desperate anymore. She didn't need to cling to every dollar. That freedom came from one thing, her savings. The third change? Opportunity. $10,000 is the line where you stop thinking only about survival and start thinking about growth. Maria took a portion of her money and opened her first investment account. She bought her first index fund. It wasn't huge, but it was the first time her money worked for her. Once your money starts working for you, something incredible happens. You realize $10,000 isn't the finish line. It's the starting line. Because with that cushion, Maria could finally take risks. She signed up for a night course to sharpen her skills. She started a side hustle she'd always been curious about. And for the first time ever, she made choices from abundance, not from fear. Her co-workers didn't understand. "How are you always so calm?" they asked. Maria just smiled. They didn't know her secret, that quiet safety net that changed everything. And here's the lesson most people miss. $10,000 doesn't just give you financial power. It changes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone barely scraping by, and you start seeing yourself as someone who builds wealth. That identity shift is why $10,000 is the foundation for $100,000 and eventually for $1 million. When Maria looked at her bank account that day and saw 5 digits, it wasn't the number itself that made her cry. It was what the number represented. For the first time in her life, she was no longer fragile. She was no longer living in fear of the next bill, the next emergency, the next disappointment. She had power. And here's the deeper truth. $10,000 doesn't buy you luxury. It doesn't mean fancy vacations or designer clothes. What it buys is time, space, breathing room. It buys you the freedom to pause and think before you act. It buys you the confidence to say no to bad opportunities. It buys you the courage to finally take a risk on yourself. Maria didn't stop at $10,000. That milestone gave her momentum. It gave her a new identity. Not someone who tries to save, but someone who is a saver, an investor, a builder of wealth. Within 3 years, that $10,000 became $25,000. A few years after that, it grew into $50,000. And here's the emotional payoff. By the time she hit 6 figures, she realized the hardest milestone wasn't $100,000. It was $10,000. Because once you prove to yourself that you can reach 5 digits, every milestone after that feels possible. Maria's story is proof of what so many financial experts have said quietly for years. Wealth doesn't begin at $1 million. It begins the moment you cross into stability. It begins the moment you can finally breathe. It begins at $10,000. If you want what Maria has, Here's the exact roadmap. Simple, repeatable. It works even if you're starting small. Step 1. Pick your number and deadline. Don't say, "I'll save more." Say, "I'll save $10,000 in 18 months." That's $556 a month, or about $129 a week. If 18 months feels too tight, pick 24 months, about $417 a month, $96 a week. Make the target real, measurable, and on a timeline. Step 2. Open 2 accounts and name them. Account A, emergency fund, do not touch. High yield savings. Account B, bills and life. Checking. Money for emergencies lives in A. Everything else flows through B. Separation creates discipline. Step 3. Automate it like a bill. Set an automatic transfer the day you get paid. Start with $50 to $100 a week, if that's all you can do. Increase every quarter. If it's automated, it happens. If it depends on willpower, it won't. Step 4. Build the $1,000 micro buffer first. Your first milestone is not $10,000. It's $1,000. This stops the one flat tire destroys everything cycle. Hit $1,000 fast, then push to $3,000, $6,000, and finally $10,000. Step 5. Run the 90-day Trim 3 challenge. Cut 3 categories for 90 days. Subscriptions you don't use. Food delivery and impulse snacks. Interest and fees. Call to waive bank fees. Refinance high-interest debt. Negotiate phone/internet. Every dollar you free up is auto-moved to the emergency fund. No gaps. No delays. Step 6. Use the avalanche rule for bad debt. If you have high-interest balances, list them by interest rate. Pay minimums on all. Attack the highest rate first with every spare dollar. When one is gone, roll that payment into the next. Keep saving, but never ignore double-digit interest. Step 7. Add one income booster. You don't need 5 side hustles. You need one that fits your life. Overtime, weekend gig, reselling, tutoring, meal prep, dog walking. Apply the 2x rule. The first 2 months of new income go 100% to savings. After that, keep at least 50% flowing to the fund. Step 8. Make spending boring with guardrails. Pick a simple rule you can live with. 50/30/20 or 60/30/10. Example, 60% needs, 30% wants, 10% savings to start. As income rises, flip it to 50/20/30, 30% to savings. Guardrails remove daily decisions and protect momentum. Step 9. Schedule a 15-minute weekly money date. Every week, same time. Open your accounts. Check progress. Increase the auto transfer by $5 to $25 if you can. Small nudges matter more than big promises. Step 10. Reinvest unexpected cash. Tax refunds, bonuses, marketplace sales, gift money. Decide now. 80% to savings, 20% to life. If you don't pre-decide, it evaporates. Step 11. Protect the downside. Keep your $10,000 in safe, liquid high-yield savings. This is not a trading account. The point is stability and speed, not squeezing an extra 1%. Step 12. After $10,000, split the flow. Once you hit $10,000, keep the cushion topped up, then divert new contributions. For example, 60% to investments, broad index fund, 40% to next goal, debt pay down, moving fund, or business seed. The $10,000 stays intact unless there's a true emergency. Step 13. Pre-write your scripts. Payroll split. Please direct 15% of each paycheck to emergency fund routing/account. Bank call. I've been a customer for X years. Can you waive this monthly fee and review a higher APY option? Bill negotiation. I'm seeing better rates from competitors. What can you do to retain me today? Step 14. Track wins you can feel. Don't just watch numbers. Celebrate the first bill covered by cash, the first emergency paid without panic, the first week you slept better. Emotion fuels consistency. Step 15. Expect dips and keep going. There will be months you move backward. That's normal. The rule is simple. Never do 0 2 weeks in a row. Even $10 keeps the habit alive. $10,000 isn't about buying things. It's about buying peace, options, and time. Start with $25 this week, if that's what you have. Automate it. Schedule your money date. In 12 months, you will not recognize your life. Now you've seen it. The power of $10,000 isn't in the money itself. It's in what it represents: freedom, peace of mind, and the first real step toward financial independence. The question is simple. 5 years from now, will you look back and thank yourself for starting today, or wish you had? The choice is yours. And if Maria's journey inspired you, then you need to hear the next story. Because if you thought saving $10,000 was powerful, wait until you see what happens when an ordinary janitor secretly built a $5 million fortune. Click here to watch it now. And don't forget to subscribe, because every week we uncover hidden financial journeys and secrets that could change your life. Your future starts with one small decision. Make it today.